Hello y'all, my name is Silenx and this is episode 6 of Let's Learn How to Build Static Websites and Make Our Lives Less Miserable. Although it's written episode 5 here, please ignore that. I haven't changed the folder's name, but this is episode 6. Anyway, in the last episode we built a simple website which I somehow got rid of. Anyway, in today's episode, I'm gonna teach you about like some basic CSS. Okay, this is gonna be fun. We're gonna make our website look sexy. Anyway, okay, let's get straight into it, okay? So, you already know about the classes and IDs because I already taught you about them. Anyway, I'm gonna take a div and I'm gonna give it a class. So, if you want a shortcut to make a div and give it a class as well, you can type div dot and then the class name like box and then hashtag and then the ID name box1. Although you don't need to give ID and class name both at the same time, but I'm just giving it to like show you how to give them in short. Anyway, I'm gonna erase this. I only need the box. So I'm just gonna teach you something about colors today, okay? How to manage colors. So now how we used to like mention the classes. I see you forgot it, you know? Or maybe you didn't watch my video, which you should because it's important. Go and watch episode 4 and 5, okay? And then come back. And if you did watch them and you forgot them, I can see you, okay? I can probably see you. Don't you dare forget what I say. Anyway, so in order to mention a class, you had to do dot or use you can call that a period, whatever, and then class name and then these parentheses or whatever these are called. I'm not really sure about them. Now, if you want to give a border to them, you can just do border and then you have to define the size of the border, okay? Then I'm gonna give it a size of 1 pixel and then you have to provide this argument called solid. You just have to provide it, otherwise your border won't be visible. And then you have to provide a color for the border, which is going to be red for this case because red is the only border which can be seen. Now you might be wondering why there's just a line. I asked for a border. That's because div by default don't have any height. They only have like maximum width, and it's not actually getting maximum width because by default your browser provides some margin up top and some margin on the left and the right. So that's why. And the width is like 100% because div automatically take all the width they get, but they have 0 height by default. So I'm gonna add some uh content in here. Like I'm gonna add a h1 tag, which I already told you about. So I'm gonna say, well, in the last episode we were selling pizza, so we're gonna do the same. We sell best pizzas. And if you have any name for my pizza shop, then please suggest the name. I'll probably take your name in suggestion and I'll probably pin the comment, okay, if you give me a good name. Okay, anyway, so now you can see as the height has increased because of the h1 tag of the div, now you can see the border of 1 pixel solid red. Now if I change the color to something like green, now you get the point that the color is of the border, okay? Now what if I increase it from 1 pixel to 10 pixel? It will just make the border more thicker like this. And this probably doesn't look nice, but this gets your needs done, okay? This is basic stuff, okay? And there's one more cool thing which is called border radius. You can get the autocomplete suggestion by Visual Studio Code when you type BORR. It will automatically tell Visual Studio Code that you're looking for border radius, and then you can press enter and then you can type 10 pixel. And what it does is actually quite difficult to explain. I'm just gonna show it to you. It gives border to your border. It gives radius. It gives like circular endings, circular corners to your border. That's what it does. And these are really cool, and I use them a lot. Imagine if you want to make a really good button, then you're gonna like give it a light blue color, and this looks like a really good button, like on those websites where you see download me, and then I can press this button with like really good rounded corners and stuff. This looks quite modern, just like this. You see this application right here, Visual Studio Code? It also has like rounded borders, but this is probably different. But anyway, I'm just giving you like an idea how to do stuff. Anyway, now we know about border, we know about border color, and these both are quite useful. And one more thing, when you don't have both of these, you cannot actually see the div, right? So while I'm like actually in the development process, while I'm developing the website, sometimes I just need to see the div in order to work in it. So I just type like border 1 pixel solid red, and this is kind of into my muscle memory. That's why I can type it like really fast. And you will see me doing this very often, because I use this thing very often to just show the div so that I can see what the div looks like. Okay, now what if we want to give this h1 a color? Okay, we can do that. But look, now there's one more thing. Because this h1 is inside of this div, if we give this div a color, the color will automatically be applied into all of its children. Imagine this div being a parent and this h1 being a child, because this child is inside of it. That sounds wrong. Anyway, I'm gonna type color green, and what that will do is that will create the color for the h1 tag. And that is how you give color and border, and that is up for all the like color shenanigans. But what if you want to set the width and height of this div? Like this div is a box, right? I'm gonna get a border of 1 pixel solid red so we can at least see it. And now we want to change the width and height of this div. How do we do that? Now in CSS, it's quite easy to do that because it's really simple. I'm telling you, it's way too simple. You just have to type height. Like in order to change the height, just type height. That makes sense? Yeah, that does. It's quite simple. Now you do height 500 pixel, and then the height is now 500 pixel. Now if I decrease this height to somehow 200 pixels and I make this 5 pixels, so the border is now thickened because of this, and now the height is 200 pixels. Now I'm gonna do the same with width. Width will be 200 pixels as well, so that I can make a perfect cube. And now this is our little perfect cube where we have the value stored, right? No, not the value, the h1 tag stored. Anyway, now one thing that I do want to tell you, this the same thing we can also do for the h tag. Okay, we just have to give it ID, heading. It's not necessary for you to give it an ID. I just gave it for like to show you, to remind you that ID did exist in a moment or so. And if you don't know what I'm doing, then you haven't watched previous episodes. Please do that. Please do that. Please give me watch time. I mean, please learn. I mean, of course, please give me watch time. It's quite important for now. Channel is like, no, it's like I just started, so I don't want like setting growth, but if you subscribe or like my video, that would make me happy. That's it. That's all it will do. Now here I can specify color red. Okay, so now this h1 has the color red. But if inside of this, because here I'm targeting this h1 tag, if inside of this I might type color white, now this will be like overridden. I have to save the HTML file as well. Make sure you do that. Now you cannot see it because the color is white. I'm gonna do color black. Now this will be this thing will override this thing. It does that if you do something for the parent and then do the same thing for the child. The child's thing will be considered as the valid thing. Yeah, that's how I'll explain it. Anyway, so if I do the same thing for the child as well, like if I give it a border of 1 pixel solid green, what do you think? Is there any border for the child as well? Is there any border for, let's stop calling it child, let's call it the h1 tag. What do you think? Is there any border for h1 tag? Well, if you answered yes, then you're pretty much correct, because each and everything in HTML has border radius, height, width, color, each and every property. So now this heading also has the border. I can also give it a border radius as we did before, 10 pixel, to make it a bit rounded, and now it actually kind of looks like a button, to be honest. And there's also one more thing. Whenever you're handling a text, like this is a text, all right? This is a text. This is a text, and there's also one more way you can write a text, like P, and then you can write text goes here. in both of them, I'm gonna change this to a class so I can use it again and again, and I'm gonna copy this and I'm gonna give the same class to P as well. Now they both have the same color. I mean, now you have to change this thing from ID to a class, and now I'm gonna give them a color of blue so that we can see them. Anyway, now they have blue color, they have a border of green. Let's give them a border black. Let's thicken their border a little bit. Now they have 5 pixel borders. They don't look good, but that's not the point right now. Anyway, so in both of these cases, wherever you can see text written, you can do this property called text align. Now text align has a lot of options like center, which will center them. As you can see, it has left, which will put them both to left. It has right, which will put them both to right. It has justify, which is just like a Word document. If you have ever used something like Microsoft Word or something like that, it's just like that. Justify means justify. Just put it wherever you can. Yeah, I hope that is what justify means. Please comment. Please correct me down in the comment. So we're gonna do text align center, because it looks nice. So today you learned about these all of these properties in CSS, and these are really cool properties, I must say. I mean, these are not really that cool. There will be more properties which you're gonna learn, which will be cool in the future. But anyway, you made some progress, and that is what counts. You tried, and that is what counts. And one more thing, if you're watching my videos and you're not actually coding like side by side, that is so wrong. You should do that. Code side by side. Coding side by side is the best way to learn. And if you want to learn coding, like if you want to learn web development fast as possible, code side by side. Practice whatever I told you. Whatever I taught you, try to do that yourself without actually seeing the video, or if you get stuck, then watch the video. This is how you should do it. This is how I did this, and I learned HTML, CSS, and JavaScript at a really fast pace. I learned it in about like 1 month. And I know that might be like too slow for some people, that might be too quick for some people, but everyone have their own learning pace, and that is what you have to care about. It's not about how fast you can learn a thing, it's about how much, how deeply you can learn a thing and how productive you can be. It doesn't matter how quickly you learn HTML, CSS, and JavaScript if you can make a working website. All people care about is productivity and nothing else. Now, I'm stop gonna give a speech like a dad, but this is something important. A lot of people get like demotivated really quickly for coding. They are like, oh my gosh, I cannot learn this thing. This is too I'm learning too slow. I'm not learning at a fast pace. My friend learned coding and they are like making apps right now. I'm not even doing this and stuff like that. Please don't do that with yourself. Please don't compare yourself with anyone else. Everyone has their own learning pace, and you have to care and you have to respect that. Respect your own self. Anyway, this is the last episode I'm gonna record tonight, so that doesn't matter for you guys. So yeah. Anyways, this was it for this episode. In the next episode, we're also going to learn a lot of other. In the next episode, I'm going to teach you about border box. That's a really cool thingy. Box sizing and box structure in HTML, which is one of the most important things in HTML. And yeah, we will learn that. So I'm quite excited about that. Anyway, that was all for this video. I'll meet you guys in the next episode. Till then, take care of yourself, family. Silenx signing off.